Sage Wanderer coming at you from my van down by the river. So I wanted to talk briefly about the shooting in Thousand Oaks, California at the nightclub where the country music fans, some of them apparently survivors of the Las Vegas shooting, were minding their own business when a crazy person came in and started shooting a place up. We know now what weapon he used. So in this video, I want to talk about not just that weapon, but I want to talk about how you can survive one of these shootings, because it's looking more and more like people like you and me, people who like country music, who occasionally venture out to hear musicians play or to dance. We could find ourselves in this situation because some of these people have experienced this and survived it twice now. So it's just a matter of time till if this continues until we're going to find ourselves in a fight or flight situation. So let's talk about the gun the shooter used. He used a Glock 21 in 45 ACP. I believe it was the 21 in 45 ACP. Now, it's a gun not unsimilar from this one. This is my 9mm Glock, although this is one of the biggest Glocks that they make. This one is referred to as the practical tactical Glock. But I wanted to show you a few things. First of all, this weapon takes a high-capacity magazine, a 17-round magazine. You can also get a 33-round magazine for a 9mm. To my knowledge, they do not make a 33-round magazine for 45 ACP. So we can rest assured that the magazine he was using was probably at maximum 15 rounds. I do not believe they make a high-capacity big stick magazine in 45, because the only reason they make one in 9 is because they make it for the G10 Glock auto pistol, which is a fully automatic pistol, machine pistol, and that's the magazine for that gun. But it also fits in the standard 9mm Glocks, all of them. So any 9mm Glock can have a 33-round magazine, but not in 45 ACP. It's a bigger bullet. So whereas this grip frame holds 17 rounds of 9mm, I think it would only hold 15. I don't know. I'm not a 45 guy. Anybody out there that's got this Glock 45, feel free to chime in. But I wanted to talk a little bit about reloading, because if he's using a 45, he didn't have a 33-round stick mag, chances are he did a tactical reload or he did a speed reload. You need to know what these are, because as a victim, as a potential survivor, when the reload happens is your best opportunity to make a move. Either a move to take him out and be a hero, or a move to skedaddle out and be a survivor. So, that choice is yours to make in the moment. But at any rate, you need to know what an empty Glock looks like. There's an empty magazine. We're going to insert it. I fired the last round. The gun went empty. And when that happens, a thing called a slide lock occurs. Now, if you can see here, normally a magazine, a slide is even with the back of the gun. If the gun is empty, it looks like this. A speed reload occurs when your gun goes dry, and you have to make a reload rather quickly. When this happens, a shooter will turn the gun slightly in his hand like this. Now, you don't use your other hand. You can do it naturally. If you have long enough thumbs, you don't have to break a grip. But even with this extended mag release, I still have to break grip slightly and cock the gun slightly out of position in my grip, opening my grip right there. So when I do that, then I eject the empty magazine. You index the full magazine by placing your index finger, that's why they call it indexing, your index finger right over the end of the bullet, because anybody can stick their hand in the hole that their other hand makes. You can stick your finger in that. I'm sorry, that's a little... I'm not trying to be naughty, I'm just showing you that that's easy to find your own hand. So you take this right here and you make your reload by feel, or by indexing, by just knowing that this is where your two hands meet. So then this happens and you slide it shut. The gun is still locked back, so you have to cant your hand even further, most people, to get a hold of this part here, which is called the slide release. When that happens, now the gun is reloaded and ready to fire. So this is a hot gun right now and very dangerous. I'm going to unload it so we can continue our discussion. There you go. So this is what an empty gun looks like. If the shooter has an empty gun, make your move. What's another clue that the shooter may be reloading? The shooting has stopped. If the shooting was steady, bam, 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 1,000, 2, 1,000, make your move. Don't run while the shooting's happening. Take cover while the shooting's happening, then move when the shooter takes a break. Because he may be looking for other targets, but he may be dealing with a empty weapon. He may be dealing with a malfunctioning weapon. He may be transitioning to another weapon. So this is the perfect time to make your move. Now, let's talk about situational awareness. I think if you're a country music fan, the days of going into a nightclub and getting hammer-faced drunk and having to be carried out is probably gone. Because if you or someone in your party is not tuned into the situation and maintaining situational awareness, you may not realize something's going on until you're shot. So situational awareness is very important. You need to know where your exits are in any nightclub. I'm a professional musician, so when I go to a new venue, I dump my gear, I assess the stage from what I do, from the perspective of what I do for a living, the sound system, where am I putting my stuff, where's my green room, where's my area. As soon as that's established, I walk the building and I look at all of the exits and make sure that I know where every single exit is. It's just something I've always done. I call it getting the lay of the land. So you need to know where your exits are in a nightclub venue. I'll tell you another thing. You need to be aware of the door. The door where people come in. They control a door in a nightclub because that's where they check your ID. That's where they check you. And so the confrontation is going to break out at the door. Because there are men there whose job it is to keep people out who aren't welcome because they're too young, because they're too drunk, because they don't have the proper ID, or because they're hell-bent crazy trying to kill you. So the first shooting is going to occur at the door. So you want to be tuned in to where the door is. Unfortunately, the door typically is at your back if you're facing the stage. So taking up a position side stage where you can see the stage and the door is a good place to be for situational awareness. What happens once the shooting starts? I think immediately you need to take cover. But here's the thing. Never take your eyes off of the threat. I know the temptation is to get under a table, cover your whole head up like this, and turn into a turtle. But I can tell you tactically that's a good way to cover your head, pray to Jesus, and then immediately meet him. That you need to be able to move. Move, shoot, live. It's a saying amongst gunfighters. If you move, you are much harder to hit. Hitting a moving target is really, really difficult. It's not as easy as they make it seem in the movies. In Texas, we hunt a little birdie called a dove. And people who aren't familiar with dove hunting would go, why would you shoot a little Tweety bird? There's hardly as much meat on them as on the end of your thumb. It's for the shooting challenge for the most part, although I love to eat dove. They're quite tasty. But I'm sorry if you're not a hunter and you're, whatever, if you're a vegan. That's your choice. I'm not beating you up. Don't beat me up. But, one of the challenges and the reason that a lot of men hunt doves is because they're so hard to hit. They can change direction in midair. They can look like they're coming right at you, then suddenly take a hard 90. No acrobatic bird can outpace a dove reacting to some threat. They will just flat stop in midair and turn in another direction. So I know that hitting, and a lot of people go out and see 100 dove and they don't kill one. They won't hit one. They'll do 25 round box of shells gone, and they got no bird in hand because they can't hit them because they're flying too fast. When I would shoot competitively, people would come to our shooting matches, and we would have what's called a runner or a zip line, and it would simulate a person running from left to right or right to left or to you or away from you. And you would be so surprised how many really astute shooters, how many tactical guys can't hit those zippers. They can't hit those moving targets. I mean, it's an acquired skill. This guy was a Marine. Could he hit a moving target? Maybe. I don't really think they teach you how to hit a moving target in the Marine Corps. They teach you how to use your weapon, and then they teach you how to follow orders. Depends on how far along he was in the Marine Corps, or if he was in any, you know, different units do different things in the Marine Corps. He might have been a mechanic. We don't know. But I will say this. It doesn't matter if you're a world-class shooter or a newbie. It's harder to hit a moving target. So move and live. If you're going to take cover, and I said take cover, then I told you to move. Move to cover. Never take your eye off the threat. And I'll tell you another thing. When you're looking at a threat, never stick your head back in the same place. If you look at a threat, the person sees you, now you're a target, move behind cover, move to a different location on the other side and have another peek. But what you don't want to do is cover up and hide, because if he saw you, he's going to come right along there and get you. And so you want to stay moving. Moving targets are harder to hit, and you want to move from cover to cover. Another thing that cover does is it conceals your movement. So let's say there's a wall here, and you're trying to get from here to the exit, and this someone is shooting at you, and you pass behind this wall where they can't see you. So you're running this way, and they lose vision of you, okay, as you're coming across. If you maintain your speed behind this visual barrier, they're going to be able to track you right through it and be waiting to ice you on the other side. But if you come along here and then freeze for a minute, take a breath, turn around, peek back at the way you just came from, and then zip this direction, he'll be doing this and not be able to find you, and you have a higher opportunity to survive. So this is the reality of hitting moving targets. Don't keep your tempo that you're running at a constant. It's easier for them to track you, lead you, and shoot you, because that's how you shoot a moving target. If they can't see how fast you're moving, and there's something between you, take a break in the movement to make them go past, and now they're searching for you. If you can, go back the way you came even. Anything you can do to confuse them and make yourself harder to hit. What you don't want to do is just lay down and hide, because they'll just walk up on you. So I hope that this was useful to you. I hope that maybe I made one person better prepared, and if any of you ever face this situation, I hope that this helps. But this is what an empty gun looks like. You ever see this? They're out of commission for a minute. They've got to transition to another gun, or they've got to do a reload. But I wanted to show you what a reload looks like, because let's just say my gun is empty, and here's my magazine, and we're just going to show you that you don't have a whole lot of time, but you have some. Ready? Not much in the hands of a fast gunman, but I've seen a lot of other reloads, making this gun safe. I've seen a lot of other reloads. We can use the magazine, that look more like this at my shooting matches when people are under pressure. It's a little more time. There we go. It's empty. All right. I hope this helps. Run when they're reloading. Stay moving. In other videos on this channel, I've talked about the difference between cover and concealment. Don't assume the thing you're hiding behind is at all bulletproof. Confuse the person as to where your actual location is. Vary your tempo and your speed in running. Most importantly, get out of the building, get to safety, and help people along the way if you can. I hate that I had to make this video in the free country that we live in. But it is getting more and more dangerous to be a country music fan in America. God save our republic.